This picture is from my husband and I's first apartment. It's it's a picture of us cuddling on the couch, and the reason why I keep it here is just a reminder of how good it felt to fall in love. You know, there's times when you're running a house with jobs and 3 kids and all that kind of stuff that it's easy to take each other for granted. So one of my sisters said to her boyfriend, "We have to figure out a way to keep Laura here." So they came up with a plan, and that was to introduce me to a Canadian guy, make me fall in love with him, and stay here forever. And unbelievably, they got it on the first try. Meeting Matt was just not at all in my plan, just not something I expected. I was a traveler, and I was actually only stopping over for a 6-month visit. So meeting a guy was amazing because it was immediate. Like, he is just such a good person. But meeting a guy was great. Meeting a guy with a kid was scary. But 2-year-old Julian was so cute. He was so cute. He was adorable and affectionate, and he was kind. And he was just an amazing little person, and he really brought out a side in me that I didn't expect to be there. My name is Peart-McBride. I'm a stay-at-home parent, and that's my #1 thing that I do right now. I am a parent to 3 beautiful, wonderful children. We were raised as figure skaters and hockey players, and there was nothing really defined about our roles as a woman. A lot of people, when I talk to them about when I tell them that I'm a stay-at-home parent, it's almost like they think it's something I should be ashamed of. There's no question. There's a huge part of our culture that think that I've sacrificed by choosing to spend this time with my family. When you have a child, you start seeing the world as the world that they're going to walk around in, and that becomes a really, really big deal. To my darling girl, when I was a young woman, I wanted a daughter. I wanted to teach her to rebel and to withstand and to roar against the world. But when it came down to it, I never really believed I would be a mother. Years passed, and I believe I saw my life path in front of me. It would be wild and scary, but rich and adventurous. Falling in love with your dad and brother changed my path forever. And you, my darling girl, are my full circle. When I thought about where I wanted to raise my kids, I actually started to look for something that was a neighborhood as opposed to an address or proximity to something. My friend asked me to go to the Central Frederick Neighbourhood Association AGM, and I said no. No thanks. And she said, no, I promise, if you go, you don't have to join the board. And I said, okay, I would go. But before I went, I wrote in pen on my hand, I will not volunteer. They basically felt like they were closing up the neighborhood association. It was done. But we showed up, and that day, the CFNA went from 2 members to 10. So I didn't take over his chair that night. We actually had a guy that had been at the chair position. He agreed to stay on, but that didn't last long because he had something going on, so he actually had to step down. A lot of the events that we came up with were just us identifying the types of people that we thought lived in the neighborhood. So we know that there are artists in the neighborhood. We live right beside the symphony, so we know there's a lot of musicians. So the musicians is actually one of the reasons why we came up with the Honer Porch Party, because we just thought, we have so many musicians here, let's have a festival for them. The neighborhood's been working on traffic calming Lancaster Street for a very long time. You know what, we just didn't want the beginning of the school year to go by again without any kind of change. So, and we just weren't getting it. We were asking for it. So we just said, you know what, why not put up signs ourselves? What I hope to achieve by putting all of this in is I want my kids to grow up somewhere that they think is special.
What if they had a constellation that was a butt?
But
Can I see this?
And they called it Butlet. Whoa. Imagine if they could actually attach to your head. I must have imagined it.